Hey guys, welcome back to the Graphic Sauce Media channel. In these videos, I like to talk to upcoming wedding videographers about my experience with my first 4 to 5 years filming weddings, share my knowledge with you guys, as well as a behind the scenes look at how I run my wedding videography business. In today's video, we're going to be talking about setting up audio with the DJ and all the things that go into that, prep work, what type of equipment you'll need, the different types of tidbits here and there, and just to help you have your wedding go as according as planned, or at least as close to according as planned as possible. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So audio is one of those things that really sets us apart from the photographers of the world. Yes, the motion picture, is one of the other big things, but motion picture really isn't anything without audio. And one of the things that the bride and groom are going to want to have in their wedding videos is their vows. They're going to want to have the toasts. They're going to want to hear what it was like during their ceremony, what it was like during their first dance. They want to hear that information, not just see it. So today's video, we're going to talk about all these different pieces of equipment. We're going to talk about how I get involved with the DJ and what, step by step how it goes for the day of the actual ceremony. So the first thing that I want to press upon you is preparation. So what you want to do 1 to 2 months prior to the wedding is reach out to your DJ. If you don't know who the DJ is, reach out to the bride, or if she has a coordinator, reach out to the coordinator. Find out who the DJ is and get in contact with them, whether it's through email. I usually like a phone call. It's a little bit more personable. You can hear their voice and talk to them one-on-one, but email works just as well. So the first thing that you're going to ask is if you're going to be able to have a audio out from either a speaker or from their mixer for the ceremony or for the reception, or possibly both. Let them know that you're trying to get a good backup for your main audio, or if this is going to be your main audio source. That's very important to let them know. That way that you can get that set up properly if it is your main source of audio, and if it's your backup, you want to make sure that it's reliable. So the first thing that you want to find out after that is what kind of hookup you're going to have, right? And where is it going to come from? Is it going to be XLR? Is it going to be the RCA cables? What kind of cables do you need? So after you find that out, great. Now you've got that set up. What do you need to do from there? Well, first off, you want to make sure you have the appropriate cables. I recommend also purchasing a second one just in case something were to happen and your main cable breaks or has a dead spot or gets damaged or whatever the case may be. I have had that happen to me before where a cable is broken and it's not usable. Luckily, the ceremony and the reception and all that was over. The audio was already captured and it was fine. It was just pulling the plug out of the DJ's receiver broke. So luckily I didn't break the DJ's equipment. It was just my cable that broke. Easy, cheap, inexpensive way to replace. So nevertheless, make sure you have a backup. They're inexpensive cables. You can spend $10 and save yourself a huge headache down the line. Even if you don't ever use it, just having that peace of mind is vital. So the next thing I want to talk about is the actual equipment that you're going to be using. So I've got 2 digital recorders here. This is the one that I started out with the first year of my business. This is the Zoom H1 Handycam. It's pretty much just a regular Handycam digital recorder. It's got a record button. It's got onboard recording right here. It has a storage slot here for a micro SD card. You've got a line out for headphones, so you can do some audio testing and things like that. And then it's got a line in with the 3.5 millimeter jack. So a lot of times this won't work with speakers. I think it has something to do with power draw or power delivery. Not really sure. I haven't had any luck doing that, but I have had luck plugging this directly into the DJ's mixer. So you can get yourself a 3.5 millimeter jack into RCA or XLR, whatever the case may be. That's a good way to plug into this. Inexpensive, great starter piece of equipment. So if you have a few extra bucks and you'd like to stretch your budget a little bit and skip the entry level and go right into this is the DR44WL recorder from Tascam. This is a great piece of audio gear. It does have, again, onboard audio solution, which you'll probably never need, but it's there if you need it, which is great. So you got two stereo microphones here, and then you got two XLR ports down here at the bottom. The nice thing about this device is you can record in 2-channel, so stereo, or you can control in mono and change the decibel levels of each of these. So one can be a little bit higher and one can be a little bit lower, and that'll give you a great solution if maybe one of your speakers is a little bit louder and one of your speakers is a little bit lower. Or maybe if someone speaks up during the middle of their speech, you can switch and have that same audio without it peaking and still be golden. It's got a screen here that gives you like a whole bunch of information, levels, leveling, audio, stuff like that. It's a really great piece of equipment. Highly, highly recommend. The cables that you're going to be using with this is a Y cable. It's got 2 male XLR ports on the bottom. This is going to plug into the bottom of your digital recorder right here. And then it's got the female end right here for XLR. So this, in a perfect world, the best audio that you're gonna get is from the back of the speaker, from the master out. The reason why this is the best is you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get the sound, the songs, the music, the DJ's microphone, the groom or the best man, maid of honor, their microphone. Anything that the DJ is pushing out to the crowd, you're gonna get that recorded. That's really what you're looking for. Things like the music, which you probably won't be using because it's copyright, but having that information so you can say, hey, this is the type of song that they dance to during their first dance, that's good information to have. So that if you can get the master out on the back of the speaker, that's nice. The other good thing is it's away from the DJ's like mixing board and all that stuff. You don't have to go back there and fiddle with it. You can literally come up and work with it and be away from the DJ. So if you have to change levels or anything like that, it's all said and done. So the best thing for you as far as output goes, in my opinion, is XLR to the back of the master out on the speaker. So I've got an extension cable here since this is pretty short. This is just like a 3-foot cord, I believe. Yeah. So it's just XLR to XLR, just extending that down a little bit, which is great. If you don't get an XLR output, let's say you have the next most common is the RCA, the red and the white plugs. This is just another Y cable. It's got the left and right speakers on this end, and then the XLR male on here. So you just plug this into your extension, and then this goes right into your DJ's, most likely your DJ's soundboard or mixer. Very rarely will you have these ports on the back of a speaker. Sometimes you will, but very rarely. Most of the time this is going into the soundboard. If you don't have that, you might run into a DJ that has a 1/4-inch jack. This right here is going to give you stereo sound. It's going to plug again in mostly into the actual mixer. Sometimes, very rarely, 1 out of 10 times, will this go into the back of a speaker. So there's those two. I haven't run into the 3.5 millimeter, the headphone size jack ever. So I really didn't buy one. You can get one. It's just basically a step down from this. So you plug that in over top of this, and then you can just plug that in, and then you step down further, I guess. I haven't run into that. If you feel like you might need it, it's a $2 plug, so you can get it for pretty cheap. So that's the cables that you need. The other thing, the do-it-yourself piece that I've got here is a Velcro strap with a camera mount screw on it here. So basically this just screws into the back of the Tascam here. And what I'll do is I'll wrap this around like the DJ's like speaker pole or whatever, and that way it's not hanging and it's all nice and tight or whatever and tidy. That's one thing I can really get behind, is making sure that your setup doesn't clutter the DJ setup. Make sure that you're nice and neat, tucked again, and you can also Velcro strap your cables to the pole itself, so that way things aren't loose and cause for concern, so to speak. So that's that. I really enjoy that setup. It's like I said, it's a little bit more expensive than the Zoom solution, but you get so much more functionality out of this. It records longer. It uses the larger SD card. It's just a better piece of equipment. Obviously, if you can't afford it, don't stretch your budget that thin. Start out with the Zoom. It's a great recorder. You'll love it. So those are the different cords that you're going to use. And like I said, I'd probably go ahead and pick up 2 of each one. That way you're covered if one breaks on site, or, cables fail all the time. We never know it. They just do. Okay, so we got our cables. We've already talked to the DJ. It's the day of the wedding. What's next? It's the day of the ceremony. What do you do? Right? So typically what I will do is I will introduce myself to the DJ. I'll walk up to him or her and shake their hand, say, hey, my name's Joe. I'm the videographer. I'm going to let you know I've got my equipment ready whenever you are. I don't want to rush you. Just let me know when you're ready. Walk away. Let that be that. You don't want to walk up to him and be like, I have everything. Where do I plug in at? Right? You don't let them hook their stuff up. Let them do their sound testing, because 9 times out of 10, the DJ has so much equipment, and their stuff's heavy, right? They've got tables, they've got huge boxes that hold their speakers. Most of them have huge lighting equipment that they've got to set up. And then on top of that, after they get it all hooked up and plugged in, now they got to do their sound checks and make sure that their audio is, coming through properly, microphones, the whole 9 yards. Introduce yourself. Let them know that you're ready to go whenever they are, and walk away. Most of the time, they will come to you when they're ready and say, hey, I'm ready. Let's get you set up, do a sound check, all that good stuff. Perfect. So hooking up a cable and your receiver and doing a sound check takes less than 5 minutes. I promise, less than 5 minutes. So with that being said, if it's crunch time, 15 minutes till showtime, that's probably when I would start interrupting, say, hey, you know what, I've got all my cameras set up, we're getting ready to go. Can I get my audio recorder plugged in and do a quick sound check, and I'll be out of your hair? Something like that. 15 minutes or less. That's how much I would wait until the ceremony starts, because you don't want to be fiddling this and the bride's walking down the aisle. That's no go. So most of the time, like I said, if you introduce yourself ahead of time when the DJ's starting to set up, let them know, like, hey, I'm not trying to rush or anything like that. Just let me know when you're ready. Get plugged in and we'll do a quick sound check, and that'll be it. Right? Let that be that. Let them come to you. That's my advice. Okay, so then the final step is making sure that your audio is set up and setting up your recorder. We already kind of went through that, but just making sure that you've got everything plugged in and you've got all your equipment tied down, made sure that everything is secure. The other reason that I like having this attached to their speaker pole as opposed to like their receiver is I can come and fiddle with this and not interrupt their jam or not interrupt their space or anything like that. I've got an access point, beside them. I can see the levels and all that stuff. If I need to adjust anything, I can do that real quick on the fly and be right back to where the action's happening. So just make sure that you have the audio set up ahead of time. Make sure you've got all the things tucked away. That way it's not cause, for a tripping hazard or anything like that. So the other thing you want to do is make sure that you do a sound test, especially if this is your main audio. Just plugging it in and seeing the levels go up and down, that's not enough. You need to make sure that you have at least, bring some cheap earbuds. You want to be able to hear the audio, make sure that it's clear and that it's, not cutting in and out, not peaking, stuff like that. Most of the time you can see that stuff on here, but you want to hear it for yourself. You want to make sure that's going to be how you find out if your wires are bad, right? If there's like crackle or any type of dropped signal or anything like that. Having some type of earbuds to test that out is perfect. And don't be afraid to let the DJ know, like, hey, I'm not getting a signal, or hey, can you boost up the signal to this out, or whatever the case may be. Work with the DJ and get the audio that you need. Alright guys, so that is this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. If this is the first time that you're seeing my videos, make sure you get subscribed for more behind the scenes and more videos for how I run my business, as well as like other videos like tech reviews and things like that for the equipment that I use. Make sure you leave a thumbs up on the video itself, and we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.